What's the most important three-game stretch that will define Auburn football in 2025? And I want to preface this by saying I don't hate Auburn. I think Auburn can be a really good team this year. I believe in Kylan Lee as an all-SEC corner. Cam Coleman's a stud. I think Perry Thompson's going to have a breakout year. I like Damari Alston. I even like Jackson Arnold running this offense. I just have my doubts when it comes to Hugh Freeze calling the shots. And this is a pivotal year for him to guarantee that he's locked up long-term. And these three games honestly may decide, hey, he is the right guy on the Plains. At Oklahoma, at Texas A&M, home against Georgia. Let's go ahead and discuss, but welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. War Eagle Nation, like the video, hit the ring notification, and of course, subscribe to the channel because we talk Tiger football and we talk college football every single day. Download the podcast version of the show, wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on the socials, link in the description, and check out all of our great work found at secunfiltered.com. And as always, we're proudly fueled by our friends over at FANDUEL. Go visit FANDUEL.com/SECU. Join today and get started for $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. So lay down $5 on me being an idiot and you taking the win total for Auburn this year, or on Jackson Arnold winning the Heisman Trophy, or the Tigers punching their ticket to the college football playoff. Do whatever you want, but just make sure you do so at FANDUEL.com/SECU. Now, I've already talked about the Baylor game. I know the Vanderbilt game is going to be really poignant. I get Arkansas. I get Kentucky, the Iron Bowl down the stretch. But these three games, truly, in my opinion, will decide, hey, Auburn is a legit player that can maybe go on a run to the playoffs, or there are so many issues internally that we may just got to wave the white flag and start fresh. Let's start off with the Oklahoma game in week 4. You're traveling to Memorial Stadium. And everyone remembers this game last season. All you had to do, Hugh Freeze, was hand that ball off Jarquez Hunter. Because if you do, you have one of two options. Either he's going to get the first down, and that's going to ice the game, or he's going to get the fourth down, and you're going to tell Michael Hawkins Jr., who had struggled all afternoon, to go 85, 90 yards down the field to beat you. And if he does that, you earn the win, Oklahoma. But instead, you throw a football right into the hands of Kip Lewis, and the Kip 6 happens, and lo and behold, it's another loss on the Plains. Another heartbreaker, another stinker that really didn't define what Auburn was as a team last year. Well, that should be festering in every single Tiger player's mind. Every single one. Anyone that's joining the roster, anyone who was there last season that had to watch it unfold, because of really, that should have been the game that punched your ticket to a bowl game. Plain and simple. That should have been the one. You should have finished 6-6 on the season. And instead, you watched as once again, the mediocre play calling cost you an opportunity. Well, Michael Hawkins is still in Norman, but the guy who he replaced is now your starting quarterback. And that carries a lot of weight because there's two things that come to mind. Number one, we got our dude. He's marching into a place that he knows, that he fell in love with. He thought his legacy was going to be secure here. And now he's taking names. He's kicking ass. He's showing everybody why he was the quarterback that they envisioned when he came out of Denton Guyer. And number two, it's really important for Jackson Arnold. What didn't you see in me that you didn't think was good enough? Why was I benched to begin with, Brent Venables? Why was I not the right option for you? And they're going to have an offense that's completely different than what we saw last season. I'll tell you what, death taxes and believing that John Mateer is going to be a difference maker is all in my will, and I'm totally for it. I love Jaden Ott. I think Giovanni Gibson's going to have a really good year coming on in from Pine Bluff. I think Elijah Thomas could be a breakout star, but you have the weapons. You absolutely could take advantage constantly on Brent Venables' defense with Cam Coleman on the outside, Perry Thompson lining up somewhere, depending on what happens with the Malcolm Simmons situation in the slot, Eric Singleton, what he's going to do on motions and jet sweeps. And if you really are able to establish that confidence and build a rapport and have just quality quarterback play, you might win this game by double digits. And this is a moment where a lot of us will turn the corner and go ahead and say, maybe we overhyped Oklahoma just a little bit, and maybe we didn't give enough respect to Auburn where respect was due. And so if you win this game, or even if you're competitive in this game, and it's like down to the wire, and you got to trust a field goal to determine who's walking away with the dub, you're showing that the miscues and the mistakes are no longer there. The issues that plagued you last season to go 5-7, when you thought you were going to be progressing, it's a thing of the past. We are a brand new version of Auburn football, and this one is probably really sustainable and one that we can buy a lot of stock into if we are Tiger fans back in the Plains. So that is game number one. Game number two, well, it comes quite literally the following weekend in College Station. So you just go down a little bit of a ways. And remember, it's Auburn. Auburn's going to get an upset win at Jordan-Hare. The voodoo that seeps into the soil by the shaman man buried underneath Jordan-Hare comes on up one time a year. And it happened last season in a 4-overtime game against the Aggies. And it was the moment to where Hugh Freeze kind of got a little bit of stock. He kind of got a little bit of the hype. He didn't have to plateau anymore. He was no longer falling down the cliff. He was good. Well, now you got to go to their place. And they're pissed about that one. Because think about this for a second. The way I talked about Auburn, they just beat Oklahoma and the Kip 6 doesn't happen. They're in a bowl game. Well, if for some reason A&M doesn't lose this game, and maybe they're able to hold their own against Texas, they're in the college football playoff, year one with Mike Elko. And so as much as people want to look at the Texas game and say we had them on the ropes and we had opportunities and we just couldn't strike, I look at the Auburn game and I say that's the moment that you should be pissed. Because if you win that game, a 9-win campaign in year one for a head coach, do you know what that does for morale, for the attitude, for us who consistently say, oh, it's Texas 8-4, changes the culture immediately and definitely perplexes our expectations going into this year with a new quarterback, with a solid offensive line, with a great rushing attack, with new weapons that you really trust. So they're going to want this win because of its payback for what happened last year out on the Plains. And honestly, this may be a moment where if you're an A&M fan, you're saying, we put belt to ass. We show up and we prove to everybody, hey, listen, last year we had our faults, but this is why we hired Mike Elko, and you beat them to oblivion. What is there to doubt? Because A&M is going to be, I think, a perennial team that always finds itself in the positive direction. Now, again, positive is 8-4. I'm talking about I want to get to 9-3, 10-2, college football playoff, trip to Atlanta, maybe even a national championship for the first time since 1939. And I'm not saying that this team can do it, but what I am saying is you have that moment where Casey Concepcion goes against Kylan Lee, and it's Marcel Reed, 40 yards down the field for the easy touchdown and 6 points. Mario Craver has a field day. Thor, the tight end, ends up breaking on out. And it's just because of he's winning at the second level against Auburn's linebackers or against Auburn's safety play. And the chains are moving, and they feel like that this team is built different. You feel really confident going into the rest of your matchups. Remember, if you're Texas A&M, you still have to face off against Texas in Austin. You still have to go travel down to the Bayou and face off against LSU. You still have to go play on the road against Missouri. So this is a moment where if you are an Auburn fan, you want to kind of hurt their chances of going to the playoff and better your chances. Because everything I said about Texas A&M, I could just flip to and say about Auburn. Wide receiver playing, I think it'll be great. I think this is a moment where you go, hey, Cam Coleman, show them why you were a 5-star and why everybody in College Station wanted you here when Jimbo was calling the shots. Hey, Eric Singleton, you ready to go ahead and prove why you are the most versatile player in the SEC? Hey, insert tight end here. Go ahead and chip block and get us inside the red zone for an easy 6 points. Everything I just said, flip it, turn it right on over to what you can say about Auburn. Because that is what Auburn is this year. A lot of unknown, a lot of potential, a lot of questions. Same way I feel about Texas A&M. And the number 3 is the Georgia game. It's the oldest rivalry in the South. And again, there's always an upset win for Auburn on the Plains. I don't know where it comes. Is it going to be against Georgia? Is it going to be against Alabama? Because I don't really think that you can say that Missouri is really that upset game. And if Oklahoma came to your background, maybe this year you could throw it in there. But there always seems to be the one. This is a Georgia team that we finally have some questions about. Like Kirby Smart last year had a coaching clinic. In my opinion, it was the best coaching job he's ever done in his life. But they still went 10-2 and they won the SEC, punched their ticket to the college football playoff, and got a first-round bye, even with insufficient play. I still think that roster had enough pieces to where I was confident. I don't know what I'm getting. Zachariah Branch comes on in from USC. Is he going to live up to the 5-star hype that he had when he was out in California? Is Noah Thomas going to be more than just a red zone threat for me at the wide receiver spot? Do I feel good about a combination of Bo Walker, Nate Frazier, and Josh McCray being my running back room? Do I feel like that the offensive line is going to have that ferocious dog mentality that's kind of been missing the last few years? Can my defensive line really take that step forward despite losing some pieces? Do I have a guy like Ella Meduzzi who can come on in from Army and be my signature pass rusher and play the run with efficiency? Can I get that stuff? Because if all those things happen, yeah, Georgia's going to be right back in it. And I'm not saying that Georgia's not. But Georgia, for the first time in a while, you have your questions. You certainly have your questions to where they feel vulnerable. Now, it's all this going into the season. We can watch them in week 2 where they're dismantling opponents. Week 1, they play Marshall, and it's like, okay, 70-3. Like, that's the score. Okay, gain back the confidence. There's the Georgia that we knew and kind of despised or loved if we were out in Athens. But up until right now, you can have those questions. You really can. What is this defense going to look like? You no longer have Malachi Starks. Is KJ Bolden ready to step on up? What do you got in the cornerback spot outside of Everett on the opposing sideline? Do you have your one-on-ones that are going to be able to slow down a Cam Coleman, a Perry Thompson, a Malcolm Simmons, tight end play? What you're going to bring on in with Eric Singleton on the outside? Do you have a run defense that's going to eliminate Damari Elston in the backfield? Can this be a moment where Jackson Arnold, hey, I showed you at times last season where I was really good, showed off a little bit of my movement? Or better yet, what if you have some game plan for Deuce Knight in this matchup where the mobility and the continuity and kind of game planning for one quarterback completely differs for the other quarterback? Does that end up benefiting you? And maybe this is the upset win that, again, we talk about Hugh Freeze. It may come back to save his job. You go 8-4, you go 7-5, and it's certainly not up to the Tiger standard in year 3, but you beat Georgia. I mean, you beat a team that we all are thinking could go to the college football playoff and win a national title. It's got to mean something, right? And maybe you beat Texas A&M that finishes top 20, and you beat Oklahoma that finishes top 20. Like, this ends up being the game that we talk about in such a prominent moment. So I'm not ready to go ahead and say that this game isn't going to just be in favor of the Dogs. It very well could be in favor of the Tigers. Because if it's not this one, it's probably the Iron Bowl. But I just think that they're going to get one this year, or at least go down to the wire. And if you really want me to believe in what a team like Auburn can be, you got to go toe-to-toe with other teams that I think are in the running for the college football playoff. And that's Oklahoma and Texas A&M. And if you really want me to believe that Auburn has turned the corner with Hugh Freeze, you got to go toe-to-toe with a team that I think can absolutely win a national title. And to me, that's going to be Georgia. So those 3 games, back to back to back. Facing off against Oklahoma on the road, facing off against Texas A&M on the road, coming back after a bye and welcoming in Georgia. You go 2-1 in that stretch, you've done your job, and you've really proven to me that I was way too low on the Tigers in 2025. But let me know in the comment section down below, what are the 3 most important games stretch for Auburn this upcoming fall? Like, review, hit subscribe. Make sure you're following us on all social media accounts at Mr. Cole Thompson at SEC Unfiltered. Download the podcast version of the show and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. Until next time, folks, I am Cole Thompson, War Eagle Nation. I don't hate you. I just have my questions. And these 3 games, they're going to answer a lot of it.